The smoke led me to my backyard, where a man in a fake HOA cop hat tied my son to a burning tree. I smelled it first, acrid, thick, cutting through the exhaustion of a 2-week hospital vigil. My wife was still recovering inside, grieving a loss that had hollowed us out. I was on emergency leave, my world already reduced to a single fragile thread. Then I saw the tree, our oak, the one my boy, Sam, and I built a fort in last spring. Flames clawed up its trunk, consuming the wooden platform above. And there he was, Sam, ropes binding him to the base of the tree, his small frame pressed against the bark. His face was smudged with soot, eyes wide with a terror so profound it stole my breath. A man stood watching, calm as a spectator. He wore a dark vest with Community Patrol stenciled across it. A red gasoline can rested at his feet. My mind shattered. This wasn't a bad dream. This was a calculated act of evil happening in my own yard. Before we continue, tell me where you're watching from. Leave your country in the comments. To understand this atrocity, you need the history. I'm James Holt. I serve. I keep that part of my life separate. Our HOA chair, Helen Price, despised our family long before she knew my profession. She hated the sound of Sam's laughter, the soccer ball in the yard, our quiet resistance to her petty decrees. While I was last deployed, she launched a campaign, notices about the treehouse, unsafe structure, visual blight, fire risk. She sent them to my wife, who was pregnant, then grieving, who was alone. When we lost our baby girl, Helen attached a fine for the fort to a hollow condolence card. I responded once, with cold, legal clarity. I provided permits. I warned her to cease. She saw it not as a resolution, but as a challenge. So while I held my shattered wife, Helen plotted. And as I pulled into my driveway that evening, drained from despair, she had her enforcer execute her final solution. I saw the flames lick closer to Sam's legs. A sound escaped me, raw, inhuman. Neighbors' doors flew open, voices shouted, none of it registered. The man turned toward me, a faint, cruel smile on his lips. He stepped between me and my son. I didn't think. I moved. A single, devastating strike to his midsection folded him in half. The gas can clattered to the grass. I didn't look at him again. I went to Sam. The heat was blistering. Embers fell on his shoulders. His skin was already red where they landed. "I'm here, buddy. I'm here," I choked out, my fingers fumbling with the vicious, tight knots. Behind me, the man groaned, trying to rise. "You're making a mistake," he croaked. I freed the last loop of rope. Sam collapsed against me, his small body shaking violently. I shielded him from the falling sparks. The man was up now, swaying, and then I saw his hand drop to his hip, to the pistol holstered there. There is a line. Cross it with a child, and you forfeit all mercy. He went for the weapon. I closed the gap before he could clear the holster. My fist connected with his jaw with a sickening crack. He staggered, the gun tumbling from his grip. I caught it. In one fluid, terrible motion, I stepped back, aimed, and fired. A single shot. He dropped. Silence, save for the crackle of fire and Sam's ragged breathing. Then chaos erupted. Neighbors with hoses, screaming, the wail of approaching sirens painting the sky in flashes of red and blue. The police and fire crews arrived in a storm of noise and light. Paramedics gently took Sam from my arms, cutting away his scorched shirt, treating the angry burns. "He's stable," one medic told me, her eyes holding a shared horror. Only then did I look away. The man on the lawn did not move. Medics worked over him, but their efforts grew slower, then stopped. The officer who approached me did so with careful calm. I handed over my military identification without a word. His demeanor shifted into one of grim, understanding solemnity. "Your cameras?" he asked. "Recording, front and back," I managed. Detectives pulled the footage immediately.
The entire horrific sequence was there in high definition. The tying, the gasoline, the flames, the draw, the shot. An undeniable record. The investigation that followed was swift and brutal. They followed the money. Helen Price hadn't just ordered the harassment, she had authorized a hazard removal contract from HOA funds, paid directly to the man on my lawn. Recovered texts from her phone were damning. Make the lesson permanent. The father needs to understand. She was arrested within days. The charges were severe: solicitation of murder, attempted murder of a child, arson, fraud. She was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole, plus a monumental restitution order. The HOA was dissolved by court order, its corrupt framework dismantled entirely. Sam survived. The physical burns healed, leaving scars. The nightmares come less often now. He smiles again, a sight more precious to me than anything. Now, when I look at the scarred trunk of that oak, I don't just see the violence. I see the truth Helen Price failed to grasp. She sought to break me by taking what I loved most. In doing so, she unleashed a force she could not comprehend and exposed a rot so deep it could only be cauterized by the full, unforgiving light of the law. The deepest evil often wears the mask of petty authority. This was never about a treehouse. It was about the monstrous cruelty that festers when small power goes unchecked. And it was about the absolute, non-negotiable line a parent will defend. If you believe in justice and the protection of the innocent, show your support. Hit the like button for Winds of Thought. It helps us share stories that need to be heard, stories that hold a mirror to the darkness so we can better see the light. Your engagement makes that possible, and for that, I am grateful. Remember, some lines are drawn for a reason. Never be afraid to defend them.